It's my time now as a coordinator of the project. I'm Peter Spanhoff from Ghent University to welcome you all. I just want to present a picture I just found before this morning to give you all hope for the nice day. So voila. I just want to say, let's make it a nice day together. So let's help each other. I hope you, first of all, you learned today. That's the reason why we are here. It's a final conference of our 2-year project, EURAKNOS. We will have a lot of things to present you. So this means that you will learn from us. I hope you will see what we have done. But I also invite you to comment and to give reflections in the chat. But first of all, let us make a nice day together, because that will also help us, these kind of online conferences, to, I don't know, digestate well. And that's my word for welcome. To all participants, you're also allowed to say hello in the chat and inform us who you are, where you come from, because this is more personal regarding to the presentation, where we want to have some broad view on who is present with us. So I didn't fill it in the Mentimeter, but Ilse, the reason why I'm interested to participate is because I'm proud of the work I did and proud of the consortium I worked with for the last 2 years. And I'm very happy to present today and share today all the results of the projects. Let's start with the program itself, because we have seen that people are waiting for that. So this morning we'll start with 4 presentations in a first session. So it means that I invite you to step in the body of a student, and that student is maybe looking for some quick answers about the project. And Laura will scroll over the website with all of us, and she will present our activities and outputs. I believe that will already give an answer to a couple of questions that raised in the Mentimeter. I also ask you, and which type of person you look most to. And Elena will present the outcome of our survey, and she will talk about the preferences of different stakeholders in Europe regarding our project subject. And then in a third presentation, I ask you to become a farmer, to become a forester, or to become an advisor, and to look at the presentation of Lawrence, and he will tell us more about the digital platform. You can tell what you like about it in the chat. And in a fourth presentation, I invite you to become ambitious. So you may follow the steps of several partners among us, and you may follow the steps of the scientists, the practitioners, the farmers, the policymakers, the researchers. And you will learn during our explanation how to do better, how to even improve, because we will present in the fourth presentation the technical guidance, or the explorer's guide of the thematic networks, how you can set up and run a thematic network project yourself. That will be explained over there. I will now give the floor to Laura to start introducing the website and all the activities and outcomes you can find over there. Laura, please take over from me.
Thank you, Peter. So as Peter said, we have our website and resources section. So our website is euraknos.eu, and on there you can find out all about us, our thematic network, our mission statement, and probably for the kind of more general audience that we're aiming for in this morning's session, with a range of different people with different expectations and needs. Probably the most important things to point you to would be our podcasts and also our summary sheets. So on this slide, you can see we've got a Spotify playlist. Some of these have also been uploaded onto our YouTube channel as well. There's a YouTube channel which features our podcasts, so you don't need to sign up to Spotify or anything. You can watch them or listen to them via YouTube as well. And there's a range of those. Those explain various things that we did and learned from EURAKNOS, but we've also got features on different thematic networks within our network of thematic networks as well. For example, Wine Network, SheepNet, Fertinoa, to name just a few off the top of my head. We've also got, as I said, learnings from EURAKNOS, and these can be applicable in many different scenarios. So, for example, the one that I've selected here is how to make an attractive presentation, and that can be relevant to students, to anyone who might be wanting some tips for that. And there's also points on creating videos and other things like that. So now, after that whirlwind tour of the things that we've got available, and if you're joining us for later sessions, I will be delving into some of these in a bit more detail a bit later. But I will now hand over to Elena.
Good morning, everyone. So I would like to present our results from the survey we did about communication dissemination and multi-actor. So in the survey, we asked 14 questions related, as I said, about communication dissemination and the multi-actor approach. The survey was launched in July 2020 and it closed in December 2020. And it was disseminated during our cross-exchange visits, during local events. And probably it arrived to you also via email or other channels. In total, we had 194 participants, and we managed to reach 71 researchers, 67 farmers and foresters, 50 advisors, 14 teachers, 13 students, 9 policymakers, and 9 people belonging from industry. With 13 others, we reached people from SMEs, NGOs, and we had some people working in government. Our participants were mainly from Belgium, Spain, Italy, Denmark, France, and Estonia. But we also reached two people outside Europe, and they were, one was from Cuba, and another one was from South Africa. So EURAKNOS is also known outside Europe, which is nice. So regarding communication and dissemination, we asked participants how they like to be informed about available information. And we found out that the majority of people would like to be informed via newsletters. And we were actually really surprised to see that only 7% of the participants answered that they want to be informed via Twitter. Then we dig deeper and we found out that only 8 researchers out of 71 that took part wanted to be informed via Twitter, only 2 farmers, and as well as few teachers, and almost and no people belonging from industry or students or policymakers. Then newsletter had a completely different impact. In fact, many people prefer it as a main channel. In fact, 44 research out of 71, and many farmers and advisors as well. Then we also asked participants how they search for information that they need in their practice. And we found that the majority answered that they would like to search via searching engines, via scientific database and technical magazine and or farmers newspapers. Next slide. Okay, then we ask our participants which of the following formats of information they prefer to find when they search online. And most of the people answered that they would like to find text, presentation, and videos. we were actually a little bit surprised about that the majority of people answered text, because we thought that texts are usually longer to read, and video instead are more, they give a faster message. Then we checked, and we saw that indeed still videos are still relevant for, I mean, very used from among farmers. 48% of them are using it, as well as advisor, researcher, industry, and students, and also teachers. Text, yeah, it's preferred among industry, research, advisor, and farmer as well. Next slide. Okay, then we also ask which content people prefer to find when they search online for information. And the majority prefer to find guidelines, tutorial, or how to use guides. And also they prefer to find content through fact sheet, practice abstract, infographic, and presentation of best innovation practices. Then we checked who among like farmer foresters, and then yeah, we saw that they prefer to see guidelines, tutorials, less than presentation of best innovation practices. Then we found out that for example, students like to find guidelines, tutorials mostly, and yeah, in general, all these three preferred content are, yeah, people prefer to find these three kind of contents online. Regarding the multi-actor approach, we ask our participants if they have the opportunity to be involved in a project, in what part of the project they would like to participate. And the majority answered that, yeah, they want to be part in as a steering group or user group, but also as an expert panel. And they also would like that the project is based on their own ideas and experience. And we were actually surprised that not a lot of people would like to be involved in project writing. Then we checked who answered what, and then we found out that mostly researcher want to be involved in project writing, researcher and teachers, and farmers don't want at all. Only 10% of the farmers answer that they want to be involved in project writing, but farmers and foresters are willing to give their ideas and experiences in the project. Many people belonging from the industry and policymakers are willing to be part as an expert panel of following up tests. So this was just a very short summary of our results. And if you wish to know more about what we found via these surveys, feel free to contact me or my colleague Alexander, and we will be happy to show you more.
Thank you, Elena. So now, Lawrence, I will stop sharing and you can take over for the platform.
Yes. Okay. So, as Peter mentioned, imagine that you're actually a forester or a farmer and you're arriving on our platform today. So you're in need of some knowledge on innovation. You're confronted with a problem. What you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to search on the one hand. So you have a search function in the navigation, but you also have a search function here. And you're going to be able to explore as well with regard to specific categories such as forestry, crop farming, livestock, but also maybe some cross-sectoral themes such as environment, society, and economics. Now, imagine that you have a very specific problem, then you can go through the specific search results. And what you notice there is you will get an overview either in list form or in tile form because some people like that a bit more. But what you'll notice is that you'll immediately get alerted with a title, also to which category it belongs, what kind of knowledge object it is that you'll be exploring, a small description, and some tags. You'll also notice that there's always going to be color coding, which is going to be important, as I'm going to show you a bit further on, that we've created these sector-specific or these category-specific pages. So what you will also notice is that the active filters are shown, that you have categories that you can select specifically if your solution is maybe potentially in different categories. But you'll also be able to look through specific subcategories. Now, this is a bit brief for the moment. We are aiming to elaborate on subcategories, but this is a process which is ongoing. And I'll explain a bit more about the community and the experts later on. What you'll also be able to do is filter on the media type. So maybe you only want to look for text, maybe you only want to look for videos. That's going to be possible. And language. Why would you look for language? Because in essence, when you arrive on the platform, you indicate which language you speak. So if you're a French forester and you don't speak a word of English, it will be difficult to look up information specifically in English if you don't know what the term in English is. So the information here, the moment you select a language on a platform, everything that you will see here is going to be presented in your language in an automatic translation. So if you want to see it in the original language, you can still select the original language and you can still see that. And you can also select when something is specifically published. Now, we have gone through the search results. Let's say that we go back, that I'm interested today in something with regard to forestry. I'm not particularly sure what. I will go into the environment of forestry. If there is something specific that pops into my mind, I can always search specifically within forestry, but I will have an idea of the specific content which is available within forestry. Now, if I say like, I like a video very much, then you can basically go to the page of the video. And one of the first things you notice is that you can see how many likes this video has gotten. This is going to be very important in order to see which content is very popular and which content is maybe very important. But you will also be able to see the comments that have been raised with regard to the content. So if something within the video is unclear, you can actually start discussing that, but you can also share the content. So one of the things that you will notice as well is you will have the authors, and you can click on the author page and you can get more information on the authors if you desire. But you will also be able to look up, for instance, the organization to which it was related. So if it was content created in Smartakis, then you will be able to consult that as well, so that you have a bit more of a framework with regard to that. You will be able to look up the video, of course. And the moment that you sign up and you log in, you will be able to start commenting on these on this article. You will always be able to consult the article, and you will be able to consult the comments, but you will not be able to just add anything without signing up and logging in, because we don't want anybody to just post anything on the platform. You will also notice that, for instance, Tom Jacobs has a little badge, and that is because Tom Jacobs is considered an expert. He is somebody who has uploaded content onto the platform, so he's recognized by us, by the platform, as somebody who has a certain expertise. So he basically has specific knowledge and he's an expert. Now, additionally, you will also find related content potentially. There's a text specifically related to the video that you've seen. It can also be that there's a specific podcast that you want to listen to that is related to this topic. So in essence, you will basically be able to go and see through these different elements. Now, let's say, for instance, that you haven't been able to find an answer to your question. There's always the community page. And on the community page, you can ask the question specifically that you haven't found an answer to, and you can start a discussion with other members on what could potentially be an answer or where you could find an answer. Now, The other thing is that you will also find the list of experts. So people who have contributed with content, you will find specifically, for instance, within forestry, you will be able to find a list of specific experts that have contributed to the platform so that you have a better overview of this. Now, that is in essence all I wanted to say about the platform. So I'm just going to stop sharing and leave the word to Laura.
Lawrence, there are a couple of questions in the chat you might be able to answer just quickly. So how are you handling GDPR issues, and can you select more than one language when you select for a resource?
So I think we cannot ignore GDPR issues. So yes, indeed, we are dealing with GDPR issues. Can you select more than one language? When you select specifically in the search results, you can select more than one language. Now, how are we handling GDPR issues? Yeah, I would say simply by conforming to the GDPR legislation. So people have to accept, for instance, cookies. They can select specifically these elements, but also as soon as they log into the platform, there is certain rules that they do have to that you have to adhere to. And with regard to the reusing of information from other projects, that is indeed something that we will be discussing in one of the next sessions as well, because that is with regard to intellectual property rights. So I maybe don't want to get into that for the moment.
And Lawrence, can you select more than one language?
Yes.
And then there is a comment from Elke. Saying what I miss in types of knowledge is stories can be at least as interesting as final results as you find them in reports or practice abstracts, and the journeys are very much stories, aren't they?
They are, and that's a very good comment. I think with regard to the kind of information that's going to be annotated, that is still very much a topic which is under discussion and which we are still going on to. So this is something that is, potentially a category that we can add. But I think this will be constantly evolving as well, because this is a platform that will be to a certain extent evolving. It's not a one-shot kind of deal. It is something that simply evolves and that we will try to iterate on as well.
And then several people are asking whether it's already online and how can we...
No, it is not online yet, but we are developing it as we speak.
Okay. I just want to go back to one question to Elena, whether the results that you presented, where can they be found?
We will upload them probably in the website. I think so, yes. And in the deliverable for sure.
Okay, cool.
And maybe I want to just answer Steven's question with regard to who's going to be responsible for uploading and checking and validating. So there will be a data annotation team, and that is also going to be part of I think the afternoon session with Hercules. So it is going to be a bit of a challenge of how we represent specific data on the platform, but we are trying to make sure that it is as user-friendly as it is possible, and that we can at some point also use a data crawler to basically get as much information from it. But that's still a very big discussion that is going on. And when will it be available? We hope to be doing user tests, I would say, April, May.
I think in the interest of time, we'll need to move on now to the Explorer's Guide.
Morning, everyone. I'm Maxime Marois from IDEL, French Livestock Institute. And this morning, I would like to introduce and to present one other output from EURAKNOS project. It's the Explorer's Guide. I would like to share with you two practical using of this guide. For instance, Jessica is a partner of EURAKNOS, and she's also an educator. And she will be using the Explorer's Guide to showcase to agricultural students about how to facilitate projects and processes together and work with a multi-actor approach. So this process is also really relevant for advisors to deal with multi-actor project. So the universal principles of facilitating innovation on farms and apply to a general agriculture audience, it's very useful to know that, and something really pregnant in this Explorer's Guide. So now I would like to show you what are the main section of this Explorer's Guide. The first one is for the introduction. The section 2 is really focused on the multi-actor approach. It's something to get value to target user of being involved. In this section, we deal with several main questions related to the multi-actor approach. We try to give some answers to several questions, as for example, who are the main agricultural knowledge and innovation system actors to involve in my network? Or how do you design your thematic network user engagement to optimize knowledge exchange? In the following section, it's section 3. It's more focused on to give some guidelines to work effectively as a multi-actor network. And we try to reply some main questions, as for instance, how do you work effectively as a thematic network consortium? Or how do you co-design the roles of engagement? Or how do we facilitate these multi-actor processes? Who is the best places skilled to be a facilitator? And in the following section, it's more related to the execution of the project. And the last one, section 5, is to give some guidelines to measure your impact and thematic network sustainability. Yes. The question is how to get this guide in practice. This Explorer's Guide is now available, will be available in 13 European languages. For now, it will be possible to get this Explorer's Guide in 6 languages: English, Dutch, French, German, Greek, and Spanish. And in the very coming weeks, it will be also possible to get it in 7 other European languages: Hungarian, Danish, Lithuanian, Estonian, Slovenian, Romanian, and Italian. To get this Explorer's Guide, you have 2 possibilities. The first one, you can download it from our EURAKNOS website. It will be a digital version. Or if you need hard copies as a book, handbook, you can ask to the partner of your country involved in the EURAKNOS project, and he can send you a copy. Okay, so it's my last slide for now. Thank you for your attention. And if you wish to know more about this Explorer's Guide, you are free to contact me directly.
Thank you very much, Maxime, and it was a pleasure working with you and everyone else on the Explorer's Guide. It was certainly one of my highlights over the 2 years. So now we obviously have given you an opportunity to hear just some snippets and highlights of our outputs. We'd like to give you an opportunity to have a session where you can actually discuss and think about how these opportunities of getting involved and the resources that we've presented will be of use and value to you. So we've got about 20, maybe 25 minutes or so to break out into 8 breakout rooms. And what I would like the breakout rooms to do, each room will have an EURAKNOS consortium member kind of holding the space and facilitating, and we'll have the questions up there on the screen for you to refer back to. But we'd like to give you this opportunity to have a bit of a networking opportunity within your breakout room and discussion around these kind of 3 questions. So now you've learned from Lawrence about the platform, forthcoming knowledge platform, how would you use it? So I'd like you to have a discussion about in what ways you would engage with and utilize the platform. Also, we've heard from Maxine about the multi-actor approach. What value is this approach to you? Is it something you already utilize, or how might it apply in other settings, such as educational settings that Maxine was referring to within the Explorer's Guide? And then just a general question about the benefits of being involved in a thematic network and this approach more generally. And if so, how would you like to be involved? What more support or information would you like from us, or what information and support would you need? So we'd like you to have a discussion around those questions. And as I say, we've got about 20 minutes to have that discussion. I've put everyone into breakout rooms, which I will open in a second, and you will have a little button that comes up and asks you to accept going into your breakout rooms. And then I'll bring everyone back about 11:10. And what we would like everyone from each room to nominate somebody to just feedback on one key take-home message from your room. So we have 8 rooms, so we'll give each person about a minute to just present back one key take-home message. So Ilse, you are your group 1. So did you delegate somebody to feedback from your group if you'd like to?
Yes, Irie will do the presentation. Irie.
Yeah, thank you. We discussed several things, and of course, the main outcome is that this multi-actor approach and knowledge platform, they are definitely useful if used correctly. And one take-home notes was that it's extremely useful to use multi-actor approach during university studies. So students can contact real farmers and see the real field where they will have their or scientific or practical work. So working together with farmers already during university.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Let's move on to group 2. So that's Lawrence. Did you have somebody from your group to feedback?
Yes, myself.
Yay.
So what we really noticed was that the multi-actor approach is very important when it comes to farmland innovation, which is becoming more prominent, but that it's very important to have a good process for multi-actor approach. And with regard to that, you have it's key to really present the best practices with regard to multi-actor approach, because this has been something that has been trying to get implemented for the last 20 years within agriculture. And so it shows that it's not easy, and also to involve farmers, it's not so easy. So it really is important to also use the platform with regard to that, to show these best practices and to really show how you can involve farmers more into the whole process.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're all learning together with that, aren't we? Okay, so group 3 was Laura.
Yes. So again, similar to Lawrence, I will be presenting on behalf of the group. So we started out, members were quite impressed with the Explorer's Guide, and we had someone who was fairly new to the European project sphere who said it's a useful guide and it's all been very informative for her. But also that it needs to be a living document and it needs to be updated as we learn new processes that work well and keep it updated. We then moved on to the idea of the investment of funding into development of technological solutions, but that there's maybe not actually having impact on the ground, and how do we assess impact, and maybe the multi-actor approach could potentially have more to work on to get those results to be worked on in the ground.
Brilliant. Thank you, Laura, and group 3. So we're going to move on to group 4 now, which was Elena's group.
I could make, this is Hercules, Jessica, hi.
Hi.
I could make, I could refer to some points we discussed in that group. Good morning from me as well. So there was a very nice discussion with our guests in group number 4 about the potential use of the platform. I mean that what has become prominent from our discussions is that it's very interesting to have a central repository where you can have access to knowledge objects, but the communication, networking, and let's say socialization part is also very important. So it's vital for people to get access to other people who work on similar projects and network with them, probably establish new coalitions. So this is indeed a very interesting feature, which has also been received as a key message from some of the workshops we had in our project. So this is also another benefit for someone to be involved and take advantage of the core output of our project, which is the platform. On the other hand, there appears to be some need for support as well, because projects will keep being implemented, content will keep being produced. So okay, we have showcased with our work that we can indeed create a central repository of content, but what about the content that will keep being produced? How will this content be integrated into our platform? So there are issues that need some further investigation. We have said that there is a follow-up project of EURAKNOS, the EUREKA project, which also tries to deal with these issues. But I need to confirm that there is an increased interest in our work, and this is very inspiring for all of us, because it shows that there is indeed an impact.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hercules.
You are welcome.
Group 4. Let's move on to group 5 now. So that's Peter's group.
Yeah, good. It's almost... my group was a little bit building on the discussion of Hercules. The take-home message is in fact that new thematic networks, they should not start to repeat the work that we have done. So the platform is there. The point is that, yes, just make use of it. So it means that if you start and thinking, okay, I need to have something similar, then it's better to contact us and work together than to try to do it on yourself. So that was the take-home message. The take-home message was also, when will the platform work? I just can say as a coordinator also from the EUREKA project. So the platform will work in April, May, you will do the testing. So it means from then on, everybody is welcome to come and to share information with us.
Thank you very much, Peter, in group 5. So group 6 was Maxime's group.
Yes, maybe if Leah can turn on her microphone, I let her to sum up what you said in our group. Is it good for you, Leah? Leah, do you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. So yes, we had quite a very interesting session with different people that were able to give their opinion. We have the feedback from Miroslav Daranik, sorry for the, the pronunciation, from Slovakia. He's a member of EIP within EURAKNOS, and they produce at their scale a little farm book, and they indicated that they would have a big need from their center to build up knowledge transfer toward practices. They're willing to cooperate more formally and structurally. We also had the coordinator from IPM Work. They would like to see, to understand how they could link the tool they have to produce and our knowledge platform. The prototype that they've seen seems very interesting, but they do not know how to really link their toolbox with the platform. We had also feedback from Slovenia, from Mila Nilsdotter-Linde, sorry again for the pronunciation. They are facing the same problem as Nicola Nicolas from IPM Work.
Sorry, Leah, to interrupt you, but your sound is very low. If you can
I'm sorry,
do something.
I have a lot of problems with my connection today.
So, sorry, I'm going to just move on to the next group, just in the interest of time, because we don't want to cut into the summing up, and we want to give everyone an opportunity to give us some feedback on the session this morning. So thank you very much, Leah, and Group 6. We're just going to move on to Group 7 and 8. So Milena, could you just 30 seconds, a key take-home message from Group 7?
Yes, thank you, Jessica. Sabine,
Yeah.
would very much like to share our reflections in Group 7.
Lovely.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Sabine.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Melina. We were discussing about the use of the knowledge platform, EURAKNOS, and as a few people in our group are involved in thematic networks, we are very favorite for this. I think it's a knowledge reservoir, and personally, for myself, I will use it a lot as soon as it's available, as Peter told in April, May. The same for the guide. I'm sure there will be a lot of useful information that we can use for our own thematic networks. And Patrick told us from EURAKNOS that so you are combining all the different websites together, but it's not that easy to find one general framework for that. So that will be some work for you. And then about the value of the multi-actor approach, as we in Enagro, our main focus is on farmers. This is a really the most important, that these have all the output from all that these farmers have access to all the output for the thematic network. So of course, this is a very important approach. And we also discussed that almost all thematic networks are now working with that multi-actor approach. And then we had a whole discussion on that. So we then were able to answer the third question about the benefits. But I'm sure me and also my colleague from IPM Works, we will have a lot, there will be a lot of benefits for us, as we are also involved in these kind of projects.
And if there are more questions to answer, we can keep working together. So that's
yes, okay, it's fine, Jessica.
Thank you very much, Sabine.
You're welcome.
Group 7. And Lisa, very quickly, would you like to sum up Group 8, or your nominated participant?
Sylvia will do that.
Yeah,
Great.
I will do that. So in our group, we all agreed also that the knowledge platform is very interesting and also very challenging. We talked about the challenge of linking it to national platforms, and Finland, National Rural Network of Finland, gave the example that they're also pulling together 2 different platforms at national level, and already that is challenging. We also say that there is a need for more details, also standardized guidelines for thematic networks, to know also very practical, tangible guidelines like formats and even like number of pixels of pictures, videos. We referred to I2Connect, who was making such a guide for videos, but it would be good also to have this for different formats. Then talking about multi-actor, we referred to the fact that it's very important to link actors who are in the field, experts. And also we said that this platform would be indeed network of networks, and that we need to consolidate this with all thematic networks. That's it.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Over to Lisa and Peter to sum up, and then we've got a quick feedback Mentimeter.
Do you want me to consolidate this, Jess?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so I think there's 4 sort of big take-home messages coming out. I think that what was mentioned last by Sylvie, this network of networks. I think there is what's coming out is there is really a need to not only sort of harvest the technical knowledge generated, but also harvest what I call the social capital created throughout the the implementation of these thematic networks, and link the initiatives or the platforms that are developed on national level to this EURAKNOS EUREKA platform very well. And then what I'm hearing as well is that there is another point raised about the multi-actor approach and involvement of and not only implementation in thematic networks, but starting early in using education as also a way of increasing people to use this approach, and a need to not only look at process and share best practices on how to do this multi-actor process, and especially with engaging farmers. And then there's some reflections about the guide that's really beneficial, also in light of the New Horizon Europe, and that needs to be a living document, and that potentially there's also a need for doing that for the operational groups. And then finally is the link with the EUREKA project. There's a continuous support in integrating the data and making sure that new thematic networks don't repeat what is already being developed. So that's the in sort of summary, the consolidation.
Thank you, Lisa.
This was the first session. As you may have noticed in the program, we have the sessions a little bit adapted to the specific types of stakeholders we aim. So this morning it was more related to the students, the scientists, and so on. So what is EURAKNOS providing? We have started this morning with a presentation of, okay, if you want to quickly have knowledge about the project itself, we have our website. All information is stored over there, so that is available. Have a look at it. It contains the information that you may have or look for if you want to know what is EURAKNOS about. Then the second point is that yes, it was maybe quite logic that the farmers are not willing to write a proposal. So, but anyway, you have seen some different points. I was personally surprised that Twitter was not so popular. I thought it was, but it is the case. So the people that we have surveyed have told us. The third point is, of course, that, and I must say that EURAKNOS is in fact the architect of the platform. So they have made the plans how to build the platform. Lucky we are is because in parallel with the EURAKNOS project, you have the EUREKA project, and EUREKA that are the constructors of the platform. So this means that in April and May, we will have the user test, and in meantime we also are starting doing the upload of information. So I just want to say, please wait for 1-2 months and then you will see the platform work. Or at least it works in the consortium, but then we make it public. And then the last point is, of course, the best practices. So if you want to write a proposal yourself, you know that we will have some opportunities by in September and in next year. So also on a national level, I believe it's important, the manual. So just have a look at the manual, just have a look at the animation movie, and you will find it over there. You have also noticed that we have reserved some time in this session for networking. It means that we find it, and that was also one of the outcomes of the project, that networking is perhaps the most powerful way to do for knowledge exchange, because talking to people help people much more than just saying them, here is the text to read, here is the movie to look at. So that's also the reason why we find it important. But be welcome again in the afternoon. In the afternoon, we will have different accents on the topics we have discussed this morning. Perhaps in the afternoon, you will say, okay, now I learn a little bit more. It's also interesting for me to watch. So I wish you all a good lunch and come back at 12:45 for the follow-up session. So see you in a bit more than an hour.